12-foot skeletons on front lawns, kids in costumes hauling pillowcases full of candy, carved pumpkins grinning from porches. That's Halloween as we know it. But here's a question most people never ask. Where did any of this actually come from? 2,000 years ago, in ancient Ireland, this same night had a different name and a much darker purpose. It was called Samhain, and for the Celts, this was the one night a year when the wall between our world and the world of the dead came down. Samhain means summer's end. It was one of 4 great seasonal festivals on the ancient Gaelic calendar, celebrated across Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man. For the Celts, the year split into 2 halves, summer and winter. Samhain marked the hinge point between them, the end of the harvest, and the start of the darker, colder half of the year. Some historians even argue it functioned as their New Year's Eve, since the Celtic day began at sunset, and the new year itself began on November 1st. This wasn't a quiet holiday. Cattle were driven down from summer pastures. Livestock too weak to survive winter was slaughtered, and communities gathered for feasts that could stretch on for days. Medieval texts describe 6 days of eating, drinking, and contests. It goes back further than you'd think, too. Some Neolithic passage tombs in Ireland, like the Mound of the Hostages at the Hill of Tara, are aligned to catch the sunrise specifically at Samhain. That means this moment in the calendar may have been marked for nearly 5,000 years. Here's the part that made Samhain more than just a harvest party. The Celts believed that on this one night, the boundary between our world and the other world broke down completely. Ancient burial mounds were said to fling open, releasing spirits, fairies, and the souls of the dead into the world of the living. And this belief actually shaped behavior. Families set an extra place at the dinner table, a seat left open for a returning ancestor. Not every visitor was welcome, though. The Ishi, spirit beings often understood as remnants of older pagan gods, needed to be kept happy with offerings of food and drink left outside the door. Cross them, and the whole household could face a year of bad luck. And some entities were outright terrifying. The Cat Sìth, a giant black cat said to steal souls before the gods could claim them. The Púca, a shapeshifter demanding tribute from the harvest. And the Dullahan, a headless rider carrying his own head under one arm, whose appearance was a personal omen of death. So people took precautions. If you had to walk outside after dark, you turned your clothes inside out, or carried iron or salt to ward off whatever might be watching. And if spirits were roaming free, the safest move was to look like one of them, which is exactly where Halloween costumes come from. Fire sat at the very center of Samhain. Communities lit massive bonfires on hilltops. Sites like the Hill of Ward in County Meath are believed to have hosted some of the largest gatherings in ancient Ireland. These fires weren't just for warmth. They were considered protective and cleansing. Households would douse their own hearth fires, then relight them from the communal bonfire, a ritual meant to bond the whole community together before winter set in. In some traditions, 2 bonfires were built side by side, and people, sometimes with their cattle, walked between them for purification. With spirits this close, it was also considered the best night for divination. Villagers ringed the fire with stones, 1 per person. And if a stone was found missing or disturbed the next morning, it was said that person wouldn't live out the year. Druids used the presence of the supernatural to make predictions, offering comfort before the long, dark winter ahead. And divination wasn't just for Druids. Young people played games to find out their future, specifically who they'd marry. They roasted hazelnuts side by side to test a couple's compatibility. They tossed apple peels over their shoulders, hoping the peel would land in the shape of a future spouse's initial. And they bobbed for apples in barrels of water. A game that survived, almost unchanged, for well over 1,000 years. If you wanted to survive a night when spirits walked free, blending in was your best defense. This is where guising comes from. Dressing in costume and going house to house, reciting verses in exchange for food. It's recorded as far back as the 16th century in Scotland, and it likely started as a way of impersonating the Ishi, or the wandering dead, both to honor them and to avoid becoming their target. In parts of Ireland, geysers included a genuinely bizarre figure called the Lar Vaughan, the White Mare, a man draped in a white sheet, carrying a decorated horse skull, would lead a procession of youths from farm to farm, warning of bad luck for anyone who refused them food. And it didn't take long for this to tip into mischief, as historian Ronald Hutton put it. When imitating malignant spirits, it was a very short step from guising to playing pranks. Pranking at Samhain is recorded in the Scottish Highlands as far back as 1736, earning the night the nickname Mischief Night in some regions. Then there's the legend that gave us the jack-o'-lantern itself, Stingy Jack, according to Irish folklore. Jack was a trickster who outwitted the devil not once, but twice. And when he died, neither heaven nor hell would take him. Cursed to wander the earth in darkness, he carved out a turnip, put a burning coal inside, and used it to light his endless walk. The Irish began carving grotesque faces into turnips and beets of their own, placed in windows and by doors to frighten Jack and every other wandering spirit away. So how does a Celtic pagan festival turn into a Christian one? Gradually and deliberately. In 609, Pope Boniface IV established a day honoring Christian martyrs, but it landed in May. Then, in the 8th century, Pope Gregory III dedicated a chapel in Rome to all the saints and linked the observance to November 1st. By 835, the Frankish Empire had officially adopted that date across its territory, All Saints' Day, with November 2nd soon following as All Souls' Day. The evening before became All Hallows' Eve. Say that enough times, fast enough, over a few centuries, and you get Halloween. Historians still argue about which direction the influence actually ran, whether the church picked November 1st because of Samhain, or whether the causation went the other way. What's certain is that the old customs didn't disappear. Bonfires stayed. Costumes stayed. People now dressed as saints, angels, and devils instead of spirits. And a new practice called souling emerged. The poor would go door to door offering prayers for the dead in exchange for soul cakes, one of the clearest ancestors of modern trick-or-treating. The final transformation happened thousands of miles from Ireland. In the 19th century, waves of Irish and Scottish immigrants, many fleeing famine, arrived in North America and brought their Halloween customs with them. Guising became trick-or-treating. Souling blended into the same tradition, and Stingy Jack's turnip became something else entirely, because immigrants discovered a vegetable native to America that was bigger, softer, and far easier to carve: the pumpkin. By the 1920s and 30s, Halloween had become the secular, community-centered, kid-focused holiday we'd recognize today. Today, Samhain hasn't disappeared either. Modern pagans, Wiccans, and Celtic reconstructionists still observe it as a religious holiday, honoring nature and ancestors, just as the Celts once did. So the next time you carve a pumpkin, light a bonfire, or open the door to a kid dressed as a ghost, you're taking part in something far older than costumes and candy. You're echoing a night when the Celts believed the dead could walk home, when fire held back the darkness, and when the line between this world and the next simply disappeared for a few hours. Samhain never really ended. It just changed its name. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this look into the history of Halloween, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Happy Samhain and Happy Halloween!